Hey guys, welcome to today's video on how to harness your healing energy. And it sounds by the title that we're going to be going all into maybe even something quite spiritual. And this is actually going to be a very practical, very realistic and attainable way to access another element of being able to maintain self-care. So if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Elika. I am a trusted advisor and energy optimization coach. I work with purpose-driven business leaders and entrepreneurs who want to optimize their energy. They understand that to be able to have the impact in the world that they want to have, that they need to have their energy, which is their most valuable currency. So let's jump into today's video. So I thought about this topic in a way because I think so much of the journey to having harmony and peace and joy in our life seems like we need to attain things from outside of us. And even though a lot of these things that we're going to be talking about today can be obtained from outside, the core principles come from knowing that they're all inside of us. So what do we mean when we talk about healing energy? Well, as Einstein said, everything is energy. So I want you to go beyond what you see in your body and see around you, and imagine that underneath the cells, the muscles, the tissue, everything is made up of atoms, just at a basic level. And these atoms vibrate, and when they vibrate, we measure their frequencies, and that's how we can measure energy. So we know in our body that everything is made up of energy, and even you hearing this transmission today into your ears is frequencies of sound energy. The chair or the floor, any furniture that you're sat on, is also made up of the same atoms that vibrate at different frequencies. And so when we start looking at these from these scientific principles, from these principles of physics, then it allows us to be able to imagine what we can't see. So I'm going to share with you what this means to me when we talk about harnessing our inner energy and our healing energy. So if we know that everything is energy, that means that some of us are working on the body only at one layer because we're not imagining all the different ways that energy could be moved and worked in our body. And so I want to start with that there are 4 layers of the body that I teach my clients to work with. And that's the physical layer, which is usually where most of them are when they work with me. They've already done a lot on the physical body. They've dieted, they've worked with personal trainers, they've done various different sorts of exercise. So they've worked very much on everything that you can see, right? The physical, the muscles, the tissue, everything that you can see in that physical body. But the next layer of the body is the mental body. So the mental body, if you can imagine, is all your thoughts, all your anxiety, your memory, your cognitive function, your ability to make decisions. That's all around that mental ability. And so if you look at the energy that works in this section of the body, that for most of us in today's world is overwhelmed, frazzled, you could say. And then we look at the emotional body. So I like to remind myself that with the emotional body, even though you can feel your sadness, you can feel your happiness, you can feel your excitement, you can feel your frustration. I can't necessarily touch that like the physical body, but it still exists, right? You still feel those feelings, you know? So you still know those emotions of the emotional body is energy in motion, because you feel how those parts of you change, right? One time you feel happiness, one time you feel sadness. And then the other layer, just to keep these into 4 simple layers, is this information field that surrounds us that we talk about in quantum physics. Or in the spiritual community, they will talk about aura. This person has a beautiful aura, or the auric field. So this layer that surrounds us, this energetic frame called the information field that surrounds us, the animals can pick up, the dogs can tell somebody's energy field, but the human eye doesn't see it, and therefore sometimes the things that we don't see, it's hard for us to imagine that they're possible. So now if we look at the body from the physical body, the mental, the emotional, and the information field, we see these 4 distinct layers of the body through the energy. And so I want to move on to now, how do we work with these different layers from the principle of energy in order to do, we could call it healing, but in my eyes, it's just maintaining and really building up more of the energy and feeling like the energy is in overflow. So if you can imagine this fountain, and this fountain is the energy that builds in your body and it feels like it overflows, and that overflow emanates through that information field, through that field around you, and it touches everybody that you meet. It's also very magnetic because when you walk into a room, they sense that, right? They sense that energetic field and they're magnetized towards it. That is what we really want to experience. When there is blocks in energy in our body, then we're going to see manifestations of physical ailments. We're going to see things like, broken limbs. We're going to see things like headaches, in the mental body. We're going to see things like digestive issues, constipation. These are going to happen when we have blocks in our energy, in our body, or energy that is stagnant. So I want to talk now through some of these ways that we can really work with building up our own energy more, getting that into that overflow state, and also allowing that free flow of movement through the energy. So one of my favorites is breath work. That's typically how I start the day. I personally love Andrew Weil's 4-7-8, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, and breathe out for 8 seconds. And you do that for 3 rounds. I just think that we all need to use realistic habits that we can incorporate into our busy lives, and that for me is one of them. Think about it: 4 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, in total 3 times. It's so achievable to do something that takes less than a minute. And he recommends that you do that twice a day, in the morning and the evening. But I think what that really does is it first starts to get you in tune with this life force of energy inside of your body. So, there are different names for this: chi, prana, but it's that life force. Just imagine a plant without oxygen. There is no living thing that is thriving without oxygen. And so you want to be able to bring that oxygen to oxygenate all the cells in your body, which is another way of saying energizing yourself at a cellular level. And breathwork practices are things that can do that. And you can do that yourself, or you can work with a brilliant breathwork practitioner. So on the Health Concierge that I run, my coaching and lifestyle support for business leaders, I have an expert panel, and we have an excellent breathwork practitioner that has, really become a master in his field, and runs a number of workshops and individual practices to really allow that build up. And amazing for people that have respiratory problems like asthma. Every human being needs to understand how to breathe properly, which is to say using nasal breath as well as the mouth. I think just having access to such a free resource that we can use to really promote well-being in our cells is and it's free, it's just a gift. So breathwork is one of my core ways to really access that healing energy. Another one is meditation. Now, when I started meditation, I've got to say it's one of the hardest things that I thought that I've done. And it's the most impactful. If I could say one thing that I've done that's been the most impactful in my life, it is meditation. Because what meditation did for my monkey brain was gave me presence. What meditation does when you fully understand what it is it gives you a pause before action. So what does that mean? If I'm talking to you, you're talking to me, and I'm feeling triggered, but I have a 2-second pause that's built into my software before I respond, can you see that I might have an upper hand if you don't have that? So what the challenge is with meditation is most people think that it's training yourself not to think, but it's actually training yourself to think about one thing at a time and not all the millions of things that we think about. So I think about, my practice now, which sometimes I still see how I still have a long way to go, because I'll be on my laptop, then checking my phone, and then eating, and just getting my brain to focus in on one thing at a time and being okay with that is difficult. Training myself not to multitask, because I can, doesn't mean I should. And meditation focuses you on that one thing. So whether that one thing be the breath, noticing where it is in your body, maybe that one thing could be a chant or a mantra. That one thing could be something that you look at. it doesn't really matter, but it is that training of the mind to focus on one thing and to therefore build a level of presence in yourself. And when you do that, you are just amazed at how you can experience life with so much more colour than you can when you're racing through it. I always like to imagine that you're in a car and you go 100 miles an hour and you're going through beautiful countryside. What would you see as you look out the window? Now imagine the same experience, but you're going at 30 miles an hour. Do you see how you see so much more? And when you get into this state, so more of a traditional meditation state where you'll be closed eyes to remove yourself from the distraction from your other senses, and you go internally, you're going to start to connect with the energy that's inside of your body. So if I just do that right now, in fact, let's just do it. Just close your eyes and take a deep breath into your stomach. And just notice any places in your body that feel tight. Notice any part of your body that feels like there's a lump there. Obviously, to do this, you should be in a safe place, not driving or anything like that. So notice anything that feels in your body that it doesn't belong there, like it's heavy or it's a block, just feels foreign. And go to that place. Mine is usually in the stomach area. Transverse colon too. That's where I normally feel it. And if you stay with it for long enough, you might notice that just this level of presence on that area creates a movement of that energy. Like it's almost like it's starting to move. So powerful. And even sometimes when I put my hands on that place, it speeds up the process, because obviously the hands also have an energy, and that frequency is interacting with the frequency of the place that you're touching. Oh my gosh, I could stay there forever. I just love it. So I don't know how that was for you, if you managed to do that, but if you did, especially if you're new to this, oh my gosh, if you just do this for 5 minutes, you're gonna start to tune into this energy inside of you. And then the more and more you do this, the more and more you are able to tap into, it's like a wider energy. You might feel like energy is coming into your body from an external source, and you might feel this lightness and this expansiveness, and then there you feel like a connection, almost like you're receiving downloads. It's like, I mean, you see I was just in that for a minute, but because I've been doing this for 8 years, that daily practice, I can get to a place that's very deep, very, very fast. And it's addictive, because to me, it's like, imagine you have to go get coffee, alcohol, a sugary snack to access a form of energy, but I can just do what I just did then and access that same feeling. That is just the beauty of that practice. So I always recommend, if you're new to meditation, don't think about trying not to think about something, because the brain is designed to think. Try and just focus on one thing. For me, the breath works, or just scanning the body for any blockages, that works. And start with 5 minutes and try to do 5 minutes every day for 30 days. And if you master that, then increase the time. Don't increase the time until you absolutely have a consistent habit. Because with 5 minutes, it's easy to tell yourself, no matter what comes up from the ego, I can do it, it's only 5 minutes. But the moment you start going, oh, I've got it, and you jump to 30 minutes, or you jump to 20 minutes, or you jump to 10 minutes, and then you don't get that consistency. I think it was Gandhi that said, if you have an hour to meditate for 5 minutes. And if you have 5 minutes, meditate for an hour. Honestly, it's not even that time. It's about the consistency of the habit. that's where you're going to really access those beautiful energetic states. So let me get out of I'm really feeling like in that bubble now. It's so beautiful. So another way of accessing this healing energy is through gentle movement. So my favorite, to be honest, for me is yin yoga. I remember when I first started doing yin yoga, it was extremely hard because I'd always done very intense exercise. When I was younger, I was a runner. Then when I got into the gym in my teens to try to manage my weight, I started lifting weights heavily. And when you do all of that, then I went into those high intensity workouts. And I love it. I absolutely love the gym. I love lifting weights. I love what it does to my body. But when I was experiencing my first burnout, that was when I was first told that I needed to do more softer and needed to work out less. And I remember how difficult that was for me. I remember my first yin yoga, which is much more calmer than the fast speed of the flow of the yoga that I'd kind of been doing just to do a little bit of stretching. And it just felt so difficult to just sit in these poses for long periods of time doing nothing. I just remember how my brain was just like, get up, come on, let's do something. It was so hard for me. And if you imagine that yoga was originally there as the preparation for the body to be able to sit in a meditation state, I could see now why it was so hard for me, because meditation was extremely hard. It took me 8 years before I really felt like the meditation was just something that was integrated into my everyday living. So yoga, yin yoga, was a way of being able to sit with the body in these poses and feel the energy. So obviously you can feel, oh my gosh, this is tight, this is tight, this is tight. And you can feel how you want to wriggle your way out of it, that you want to move. And you just access the breath and you just breathe into the tightness. And then all of a sudden you feel how the tightness eases away, the tightness goes, and that part of the body starts to relax. And that's the healing energy of the energy flow that's been created, where there was a stiffness, maybe of a joint, a stiffness in the body. And as you breathed into it and stayed with it and stayed with the level of presence, the energy then started to circulate and move through the body. And that's the beautiful thing about slow movement. And it could be that instead of running all the time, you walk, for some of those runs, and slow walking through nature, and just trying to practice doing some things of your movement slowly. It could be the way that you drink your coffee. Instead of gulping it down in a few minutes, you put a timer on, and you can't finish your coffee or your tea until 20 minutes of the timer is up. So you just sip it slowly through that time. It could be, when you're lifting things or you're cleaning, and you do it at a slow pace. I know when I started to cook, I used to listen to podcasts, and I've tried to, on one day a week, when I'm baking or doing something that's more just creative, just use music. And I use a lot of prayer and faith music, like gospel music. I love it. And it just puts me in this really slow, okay, just take my time and let me bake my little things. This morning I was baking my grain-free granola recipe on my website, and I was always baking it, and I was listening to my soul music and the gospel music, and just in this beautiful slow movement state. And that is also allowing the body to know that it's in this rest and relax mode. So if you're like me, that it feels like your nervous system is built for fight or flight, go, 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 you need things like that to allow the body to think it's calm. And in its calm, when it feels like it's relaxed, then the energy can flow freely because it's not constricted and tight. So gentle movement is another. Another way that I access healing energy is by plant medicine. So I specifically, and if you see this on my website, I'm one of the wellness advocates for doTERRA, because they're one of the very few plant-based oils out there that operate in a third-party regulation. So if you just imagine essential oils and these plant oils exist, then it's not a regulated industry. So we need to know that the efficacy of these oils that we're putting on our body, especially if you're ingesting them, have been third-party approved. And doTERRA is a certified therapeutic grade oils. So as long as the oils are, not toxic to ingest, such as lemon or peppermint or rosemary, we can use them in 3 ways. Topically, we can ingest them, and we can inhale them. And so when we access the plant in this way, we're accessing the frequency, the energetic frequency of the plant. So if you imagine a plant I've got what was the one that I was using the other day? I was using one of the big trees. I think it might be in the Siberian fir. I love that one. And as you put the oil on or diffuse it, I was diffusing it in the room, and I tend to put tree oils on the bottom of my feet, just like a tree root, right, to ground myself. And I could feel the grounding properties. I could feel, what do I mean by grounding? It's like how the weight goes from the top part of my body and it moves down my body, and I feel more grounded. I could feel that, and that's the energetic property of that big plant, that big tree, that I absorb when I put that plant's energy on me. But the same way, when you use citrus oils, like something like a mandarin oil that I have the wild mandarin, when you put that on, that's more invigorating, more lighter, and that invokes that happiness, that kind of serotonin, oxytocin type of feeling. And so again, we're using the energetic property of those plants and then using that for us to create our own shifts in our energetic state. So I love using the doTERRA plant oils. And one of the things that I've done to make it a daily routine is I've incorporated a few oils that I think are what my constitution needs. I do this sometimes for clients as well. And so what I've done is I've taken my normal oil that I use every day, which I use an organic almond oil to moisturize, and I've put in there a few drops of oils that I think, some tree oils, frankincense, which is, you know, a very spiritual oil that opens up the pineal gland, but it's also really good for the skin. A little bit of lavender, which is also good for the dark patches, the scarring that sometimes I get on my skin. And a sweetness that I like to add in there is like a little bit of cinnamon, like a little bit of spice in my, and I moisturize with that every day. So there are ways to incorporate these energetic properties of the plants in daily habits that are really sustainable. And so the last one I wanted to come to is the 𝐸𝐈. Yeah. So the 𝐸𝐈, you also find that on my website, but I'll try and get these links in the comments below as well of this video. But the 𝐸𝐈 is the device that I use, the wearable device that uses microcurrents. So it's working on this technology that's called bioresonance. So we've known for a long time that when you go to hospital, they can check your brainwave activity, your heartbeat. And so these are all frequencies, right? So the 𝐸𝐈, what it does is it uses this same technology to scan your body in one of the programs that I use, and to check all the frequency of your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, and the information field of your body. And it can do this analysis of your energy and see where there are frequencies that are out of balance, or out of where they should be. So obviously by now, physicians have been able to measure all the different frequencies of all the organs, the tissues, everything in our body. So with the 𝐸𝐈, it has over 144,000 different frequencies programmed in. And in the one that I have, it has 300 programs. So I can scan using one of the programs, and then that's just diagnosis. The second part is it then can send those frequencies. I can choose one of the 300 programs, which sends the frequencies into my cells to harmonize the cells. So that could be, if I'd had a bad night's sleep, I can run one of the sleep programs. If I'm having digestive issues, I can ease up my digestion. I can help my body to produce more ATP. So that's the energy currency, that the mitochondria, which is the power battery inside the cells. So that producing energy, I can produce more ATP by using some of the energy programs. So I can calm my mind and my nervous system into more this rest and relax mode by using some of the balance and the mental balance programs. So these are all ways of getting energetic shifts and getting my body to use its energy, or promote its energy, or stimulate its energy in different ways by using the 𝐸𝐈 device. So highly recommend that. So those are all the ways that we can use healing energy to really create harmony inside ourselves. And when we create harmony inside ourselves, especially because of the information fields that surrounds us, we then create harmony with others and with our environment. And it's that harmony that allows us to be able to experience more inner peace, more joy, and more freaking abundance in every area of our life. And who does not want that? So that was kind of all the things I wanted to share today on this particular video. But if this video has really added some value to you, give this video a like. And if you feel that there's somebody that could really benefit from these realistic habits and these way of approaching how to access energy, then share this video with them. And if you understand, just like me, the that energy is your most valuable currency and you'd like to stay on top of the ways that I share about how you can increase and optimize your energy, then don't forget to subscribe. I'm really excited to share more and more of this content with you. So if there's something you'd like to hear, please leave that in the comments below. I would love to create videos and content based on what you really are looking for support around. So you can leave that in the comments as well. Yeah, okay. So like, subscribe and share, and thank you so much.